Well, good afternoon and good morning, depending on where you're listening to us today. It's 2 p.m. in Amsterdam, sun is shining, and we're ready to run our webinar for today. Today's webinar is going to be on one of the latest publications of UNCDF, building the business case for serving youth with the insights from the YouthStart program. And we are beyond excited today because we have live on this webinar Ms. María Perdomo. She's a program manager for UNCDF. And hopefully in a few minutes, we're going to also have the presence of Mr. Jules Ndahayo. He's from UCU in Rwanda, and he's one of the financial service providers who is part of the YouthStart program. So today, together, they will introduce this publication, and they will answer your questions at the end of our webinar. Just make sure to keep your microphone muted. This webinar is being recorded, which means that at the end of the session, we can also share we're going to share the webinar. So for those who couldn't listen today, can also have a glimpse of the webinar today. So I'll begin by introducing myself. My name is Ignacio Bianco. I work as Financial Inclusion Coordinator for Child and Youth Finance International. We are an NGO based in Amsterdam. We lead the world's largest movement dedicated to enhancing the financial capabilities of children and youth. We have a target to reach 100 million children in 100 countries by 2015. And what we want pretty much is that every child and youth age 8 to 24 should have the knowledge to make wise financial decisions and the opportunity to accumulate savings. Okay, so we have a challenge. There are 2.2 billion children and youth in the world. And the fact is that only 1% have access to financial education and financial inclusion, with 46% of youth under employment and 50% children living in poverty. I think this is a great opportunity to review our business case. So let's hear from UNCDF and from María Perdomo. They're doing a lot to change this reality. So I yield the rest of my time to María Perdomo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ignacio, for having invited me to this webinar and to allow me to share the experiences of YouthStart and our partners. So just for those of you who do not know YouthStart, we are a program that is an initiative of the United Nations Capital Development Fund that aims to increase financial inclusion for young people in sub-Saharan Africa. We are active right now in 8 different countries, and we support 10 different financial service providers around the continent. One of these 10 financial service providers is actually, well, I can only see from the list of participants that I am right now with Flavia Namakate. Thank you very much for joining us, Maria. Oh, you're not being able to hear me? I have to speak louder. Okay. If thank you for the heads up. Is that better now? Okay, good. So yes, I was lacking some energy there, which is not normal in me. So anyways, I was telling you that I'm very pleased to count with the presence of the youth champion of one of the 10 financial service providers that YouthStart works with, and that is Flavia Namakate from Finance Trust Bank in Uganda. So Flavia, I may ask you to jump in the conversation because since Jules from UCU, I'm sure he might have had some problems in joining the webinar, and so I would ask you to jump in the webinar. Is that okay with you, Flavia? Thank you so much. As always, I knew I can count on you. So today, just as Ignacio was saying, I'm going to talk to you about what UNCDF has been doing around the business case of providing youth financial services. As many of you are aware, the social case, the social case for providing youth services is very clear, right? When young people are allowed to save in a safe place, they can start accumulating assets since a very early age, and those assets could in the future serve as help them to mitigate risks mitigate risk, or go to school, continue going to school, or when they're older, starting up a business, right? And that's the same case. And then if those savings products in the future, when the youth turns into adults, and he or she is able to access a loan, so those financial services could highly contribute to the entrepreneurship and to solve maybe the challenge of youth unemployment in the continent. However, in spite that social case, that strong social case, just as Ignacio pointed out briefly, there are very, very few financial service providers that actually target youth. And the reason is because there is not a business case to doing it. Probably some of the financial, or a lot of financial service providers consider youth as a risky market, and so therefore, therefore they're just not served them appropriately. So my goal today is to present you one of the publications that YouthStart recently launched, well, last year launched. And everything that I'm going to talk to you about today, you can find it in this publication at our website, www.uncdf.org/YouthStart. And so I encourage you to go to this website after our webinar. So let me start perhaps with this slide about the main pathways to sustainability of youth services. To assess the profitability of youth services, we're going to need to respond to three main questions. The first one is, what are the operating expenses and cost structures of a youth program? The second one is that if we expect youth deposits mobilized led to a positive impact on the FSP's balance sheet, then the key question is, what is the savings volume that we can expect from youth? Do they have enough savings capacity or not? And the third one is, what other returns can we expect to get from youth? Okay? So these are the three questions that we sort of tried to answer in our paper. And for that, we used a case study of 3 FSPs. Well, we started with 4, but due to lack of data, we had to continue with only 3. And those are UCU in Rwanda, Finance Trust Bank in Uganda, and Peace in Ethiopia. So let me go to the next slide. So let us identify first what are the main costs of a youth program. So I still see that Jules has not joined the webinar. Okay, so let's go with Flavia. Flavia, could you share with the group what are the main costs that Finance Trust currently incurs in the youth program? Flavia, the floor is yours.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
I think the main costs are basically staff costs and then marketing costs. By marketing, I mean costs involved with going out to reach out to the youth during mobilization, because it takes around 3 to 4 meetings before we enroll the youth on board.
Exactly. So we're talking more about staff costs and marketing costs, right? What about Flavia? What about those costs that people need to incur in providing the non-financial services part?
Yes, even those costs are there. So they are part of mobilization and then a retention of youth, because you have to keep on going back to them and engaging them.
Okay, thank you very much, Flavia. Let's go then to the next slide and let's see what was the cost structure of the 3 FSPs that we were analyzing. So In the case of peace, so we have basically three main categories of costs that are basically, or two that are basically shared with all the three FSPs that we studied. One is, of course, salaries, and the other one is marketing activities. Now, the question is here, for example, you see that the chunk of, and if I can use this, the chunk of the percentage that peace spends on marketing is huge in comparison to the other two as the FSPs, right? So let me ask to Flavia. Flavia, tell us about the marketing costs of USP and why, in your opinion, those marketing costs are much lower than the ones that peace experience.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I think our marketing costs as financials were a bit lower because, first of all, if you look at marketing costs, they involve materials, then they involve money spent in terms of transport and everything. So for us, we limited so much on marketing materials, especially giveaways. We concentrated on selling the key benefits of the product, which were a safe and secure place for the youth to save, because that is what they communicated during the market research. But also, we have to do a financial analysis before that. If we were to give out capes, pens, books, because we want to enroll youth on board, the cost of getting an account was going to more than 10 times before you even get the account on board. Exactly. So we realized that we had to cut that down. We went away without those things.
Okay.
Thank you. They were used as rewards to use that we are saving constantly.
Thank you, Flavia. So you talked about like traditional marketing materials, but I know that Finance Trust also uses a lot of below the line marketing activities. Can you tell us about that and why is that important?
Pardon?
The below the line marketing activities, like what are the things that you do in order to reach out to youth? Because I know that you do more than just distributing brochures or Go ahead.
We go out in the community. We mobilize youth at community level, then institutional level. But also another thing that has really helped us to reduce on the cost is that we organize branch visits for the youth. So during these branch visits, we invite youth who have already joined, but also we encourage them to bring their friends who haven't yet joined. So in a way, we are saving, and as we market to these youth who have already joined, they also market to others. So we create ambassadors out there in the community. So we not only have youth ambassadors, but we also have adult ambassadors, because even during the branch visits, we invite the market leaders or school authorities, some teachers to come and join. So they become ambassadors out there. That has really helped us to reduce on the costs of marketing.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Flavia, as we can see here in the graph, there are some financial some costs that UCU incurs on the delivering on non-financial services that UFP or Finance Trust Bank, sorry, I didn't think the name, that doesn't incur. So tell us about the model that you use to deliver the non-financial services and how is that model allowing you to maintain costs as minimum as possible?
Finances, we use the holistic approach. We use our staff. So when we had consultants from UNCDF in financial education, we trained our own staff. We also included a few community members who are willing. So it's our staff and community members who are delivering the training directly. We have like 5 community members only, but the majority are our staff. So that's where we don't have to incur extra costs. Also, we don't pay for venues in the community. Why? Because we work closely with communities, so we get free spaces in the community that are safe for the youth that we work with and convenient, especially schools, churches, places that are convenient for them. Also, the other thing that has helped us there is that we've also moved a step to identify institutions that are willing to train youth, because it's a win-win situation. We have the youth, but the institutions who have funding and they want to train youth maybe in non-financial services, like maybe productive health or even financial education. So we managed to get Straight Talk Foundation on board to train our youth, because to be honest with you, the number was overwhelming. You find one youth having over 1,500 youth. So they can't really reach out to them in a month, all of them in a month. So we are doing that. We are doing it with our youth mobilizers, but also now we've got in partnership with Straight Talk Foundation.
Okay. Thank you, Xavier, for sharing that.
For that, Maria.
Thank you, Xavier. I'm very glad to hear that. So 2 things to retain maybe is because you are using the unified model, and that also explains why the chunk of money that you're spending on PATH is greater than in the other 2 institutions. And that's why probably your model is a little bit more labor intensive than in the other 2 FSPs, right? And then you also mentioned something that was very interesting, that it was to forge partnerships with other with youth-serving organizations that are just dying to, that are not dying, but that are also looking for young people to provide these non-financial services. So the proposition represents a win-win situation for both, for Finance Trust and for the YSOs. Now let me share with the audience a little, like a very interesting thing about UCU here, and why these costs of the delivery of non-financial services are quite high in their case. Now, at the time this study was done, UCU was sort of paying a stipend for young people that were attending the financial services, a stipend to cover transportation. And that is because UCU basically, well, they operate in a. Hey, Jules, you joined the the webinar. Welcome to the webinar, Jules. Can you hear me? Can somebody unmute Jules?
Maybe the network is bad.
No, but we cannot hear him. Okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until you set up your phone or your headphones. Okay, Jules. And once you're done, oh, he cannot use the microphone. Okay, you may be able to use the phone. Okay, I'm gonna leave that our colleagues from Challenge Youth Finance help you with the technology while I continue with the presentation. Okay. So what I was telling you was that in a way that stipend did have an effect on UCU's model, but that's also because the clients they reach are in the rural areas. So that made sense for UCU to cover for that stipend. Then the other thing was that they are using a very innovative peer-to-peer model for the delivery of these non-financial services. So the ones that are delivering the financial education at UCU are actually youth that have been trained by trainers of UCU. And then they get paid a stipend to cascade that information or that education in their own community. And so this is when one of the cases when, and this is very powerful. I find this is such a powerful example that it was even taken as a best practice by the Rwandan government to develop the new national strategy for financial education. And so, and this case is so powerful because basically they are not only building the capacity of young people to be trainers, right? But also when other young people receive the education by other young people, I think the impact could be greater. And so this is one of the cases when I would say, should we compromise? Can we compromise impact over sustainability? If that's the case, I'm very happy to. Sorry, can we compromise sustainability over impact? In this case, I'm very happy we're compromising sustainability over impact because because the model of UCU in that case is actually very, very powerful. So let us go to the next slide, which is about just a summary of this on how we can optimize expenses. So one is sorry, could we be able to cut on staff? Flavia, if I were to ask you, can Finance Trust cut on staff costs? Would you be able to do it?
No. No, Maria, we can't be able to do that. Because
why
if you
is
look,
that?
It's because, first of all, they are doing more. They are like I told you, they are doing the non-financial services, and then they are doing the mobilization, and then getting savings from that group, everything.
Exactly.
So also even the institutional salary scale, the salary that they get is the entry salary scale for new staff.
Exactly.
So that the institution cannot go below the entry salary scale.
Right. So basically, if you cut on staff, you're compromising not only outreach to youth, but also usage of accounts, right? Because you have basically to go where youth are, not only to open the accounts, but also to ensure usage and also to ensure the education of these youth. So this is one of the cases where if you want to achieve greater sustainability by cutting staff costs, you would actually jeopardize the impact of your program. So be careful with those staff costs. And then the other one, so the question is, how can we optimize costs in a youth program? Variable costs. Who can give me an example of a variable cost? Oh, Jules, I think you're able now to speak, right?
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi. I'm so sorry. The system was not responding.
No problem. So can you give me an example of a variable cost, Jules?
Variable cost about what? Because I started a bit late.
Yes.
Is it a variable cost regarding the YouthStart? I mean the YouthStart services.
Yeah. So I mean, in your case, for example, exactly. In your case, it could be marketing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
For example, marketing. This can be a variable cost.
Okay.
And yes.
And to what extent would you be able to cut down costs on the delivery of financial services, Jules?
Definitely. Maybe you can use. There are some delivery channels of marketing. If, for example, you can use the television show or radio show, this would be maybe very expensive, but if you use like word of mouth marketing or something else, like using the peers to communicate to youth, or maybe going where youth are, then it will be, I think, less expensive. That's why this is a variable cost.
Okay, thank you very much, Jules and Flavia. So now let us go to the next slide, which is about savings volume. So let us now answer the second question. If we expect youth deposits mobilized led to a positive impact on the FSP's balance sheet, then the key question is, what is the savings volume that we can expect from youth? Do they have enough savings capacity? Now, I want to see just, I don't know if this webinar system has the capacity to allow participants to raise their hands. Is that something that I can do, Ignacio?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, my recommendation would be just whenever, unmute the microphone and then you can participate. But for the rest, just please mute it, otherwise we're going to have echo.
Okay, sure. No, I just wanted to know if they can they could just answer this question just by raising their hands in the webinar. So, do you think youth can have enough savings capacity to generate enough savings volume so that the services become sustainable? Raise your hand if you can raise it. No.
Open your microphone for that matter.
No, that's okay. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, that's fine. So let us go. Well, our experience, I wanted to do a little bit more participatory where we go, but anyway. So our experience tells us that yes, but only in certain circumstances. And let us see then what those circumstances are. We know that we need a decent volume of savings so that we can lend out those funds and generate more revenue, right? So what can we do to increase the savings volume? We have two ways. We can either attract more youth and or increase the money that they save. Let us hear from youth and from Jules at UCU. Jules, UCU has done extremely well in terms of outreach of youth, right?
Yes.
Can you share with the like just to put things into perspective for everybody? Jules, how many active clients does UCU have right now?
Maybe if you come back to the question, we can have two ways to increase saving volumes.
Right.
The first one of is to increase the
sorry, I just wanted to make sure that participants were able to have things to put things into perspective. So UCU right now, the number of active clients that they have is close to 71,000, and of those 71,000, UCU has been able to, in the past 3 years, to open accounts to almost 23,000 young people. So that's huge. That's huge. And so, Jules, tell me, can you share with the audience what are those strategies that UCU has implemented to attract youth?
Yes, we have a number of strategies. Yes, the first one is to of course the marketing. Of course, the marketing using the peers to attract youth. Financial education also is the key to attract more youth. And that's some of the strategies that we use to attract youth. Of course, the products that you want to sell to you, they have to be friendly to you. For example, the interest you have to the interest fee. If the fees required to open an account, they must be actually for us we don't have these fees to open an account, and the other things to go where youth are. Right. And yes, because you cannot expect youth to come to your branches. You can also you can as well go where youth are, and maybe look at the organizations which are already existing for youth. Here in Rwanda we have some organizations. They are structured. We can use these their leaders to reach more youth. You can also partner with youth serving organizations, including schools, including maybe some other organizations which look after youth, so that you can reach them more efficiently and effectively.
Thank you very much, Jules. I'm particularly happy that you mentioned among the strategies to attract youth, that you mentioned the fact that it is important to provide young people with affordable services, and I'm very happy that you mentioned it within the context of this webinar of Challenges Finance International, because I mean you can see that it's not only responsible, right, with youth people, with young people to offer them affordable financial services, but it's also a win-win situation for the FSP. The more affordable your products are, the more youth you're going to be able to attract, and the stronger your business case will become. Now, let us see about the other way, because one thing we can start increasing savings volume, attracting more youth. But if we only attract more youth, then when you attract more youth, you increase your variable cost, right? And so then your model will be sort of will suffer, right? So another way is to make sure that those youth that you are attracting are actually saving, that they are using their savings account. So, Jules, what are the strategies that UCU employ to encourage usage of savings?
Yes, actually, as you said, usage is one of the strategies one of the things, one of the parameters to increase the saving volumes. So we have to look at some strategies to increase usage. For example, you can organize some competition between youth so that you can reward some of the youth who performed well, who have maybe regular savings, who have bigger volumes of savings. These are some of the strategies that you can use to increase the usage. You can also use like the school clubs, the groups of youth, so that you can also encourage youth to save more money. And of course, as you said, we have to go where youth are so that you can mobilize savings. If, for example, you expect youth to come to your branches to save, then you will not, most likely you will not have, the usage will not be as high as you think, as you expect. But if you go there to collect like their savings in their groups, in the remote areas, then you can increase usage, you can increase the volumes of savings by increasing their usage.
And basically the average savings balance by youth, right? Now, Jules, exactly. Jules, can you tell us a little bit about the technology that you use at UCU to increase usage? And this is something new, right? And even though you're having some challenges, I think it's worth to share it with the audience.
Yes, we have the POS devices, which we use when we go to field. Actually, our field officers in the morning they extract some data in the system, and then they go to the field in the remote area with these devices, and they collect the savings, and they issue the slips, the deposit slips to the clients, to the youth, and then they come back to the offices, to our branches, and then they upload once again these data. So that's the use of technology that we are using currently, and we are expecting to link to be on real time with these devices, and maybe be able to have these devices to the remote area permanently by using the agent system. That's actually what we are planning, but this is useful, and it is helping actually to reach youth, to where youth are, and it is increasing also usage, because as we said, you cannot expect youth to come to your branches to save.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much, Jules. So it is clear now that it's true that uptake is important to have a decent volume of savings. However, since the program has variable costs, just as we were pointing out before, the more use you reach, the higher cost will be, right? So in reality, you may want to favor usage over uptake. This will be even more powerful if you use technology to increase usage, just as the case of UCU. Our experience also tells us that there are youth with greater savings capacities than others. We actually, in the study that we did, we actually found that 90% of the savings volume of the youth or the owners of 90% of the savings volume of the youth were actually 15% of the young people. So who do you think are these youth with higher savings balances? So in the case of UCU, Jules, who are these youth? Who were these youth?
For our case?
Yes.
Actually, for our case, those youth are older youth, because they have maybe like the targets, because they are targeting to get loan after loan. Actually, they have started to think about their future, and they want to build the confidence of the institution in them, so that they say, if I save regularly, then I will be able to get a loan and start my own businesses. That's why older youth, they tend to have like a bigger saving volumes on their account because they are targeting to get loans. In our country, to get a loan, you start by 18, 20, 21 years. So from this age, from this segment, we have bigger volumes of savings.
Right. So thank you, Jules. So this is basically, or this information told us, told UNCDF that basically YouthStart partners were some sort of like subsidizing the services that they are providing to younger youth with services they are providing to older youth, right? So basically they're helping themselves, each other. So let me recap until now what we've seen. First, variable costs are important to decrease, right? Second, usage. Even though uptake is important, uptake without usage will not help you make your business case. And third one, you may have to think about the segments of youth you're reaching, because older youth may help you subsidize, or reaching older youth may help you subsidize younger youth that you reach. Let us go to the last slide, which is about other revenues that we can expect from young people. So the only revenue that we have talked about until now is basically the savings we receive from young people. We're lending that out, and then that is the revenue that we're obtaining. The margin is the revenue that we're obtaining from the young people that we're reaching. Now, apart from the on-lending revenues, like what other revenues can we expect to get from youth? I'd like to invite Flavia to help me answer that question. Flavia. Can somebody help? Right. Go ahead, Flavia. The floor is yours.
Hello?
Yes.
Maria, I beg your pardon. I didn't get you well.
Sorry. Like, what other revenues can we expect to get from youth, Flavia? So far, we've only seen savings, right? And how can we attract savings from youth, and we can lend out that money and then make money that way, right? Now, what other revenues can we expect from serving young people?
I think the other revenue is introducing a very small fee on the account. Like financials will introduce a fee of 200 shillings on each youth account. To round it up, it's $1 per year for each account, for each youth. It's $1 a year on each account. Then the other thing, there's also an account opening fee which is 1,000 shillings for every account, for every youth. And 1,000 is less than half a dollar. Yeah. That way the institution has managed to get some income, and also maybe when we introduce a loan. Also the other thing where the institution gets income, which is maybe indirect, is through cross-selling. We've managed to bring on, we've gone to schools and we've got school accounts, and now those schools are directing their school accounts through Finance Trust, in that now their students bank through Finance Trust, and that way the institution gets income on every bank slip. 2,000 shillings per, there's an account charge, a transaction charge of 2,000 on every student or pupil that comes to pay school fees using that account.
Okay, Flavia, thank you very much. So Flavia mentioned some sort of account fees that Finance Bank is actually charging. I think it is important here to mention that those fees are not, are good enough to provide a revenue to the institution that is helping them to reach sustainability of the program and provide these services to many, many more young people, even after UNCDF is done. But those fees are not so high that could compromise the savings capacity of young people. Basically, these are fair fees that are not taking advantage of young people. Now, how about Jules? What other revenues can we expect to get from youth? Jules? Jules? There you go.
Yes.
Yes, the floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, you talked about the revenues from the loan portfolio to youth.
Yes.
Is it? Yes. And ours, we don't have these monthly charges because you said during the market research they said they don't like to be charged monthly. They said that this was one of the constraints. So we don't have these monthly charges, as Flavia said. But some other revenues would be like indirect revenues. Say, for example, there is a kind of cross-selling. Because as a result of YouthStart, as a result of maybe these youth products, we have been able to attract more adult clients, and this is a kind of indirect revenue because we of course we make money out of that because they take loan and also they save. So this is, I can say that this is also a revenue. Which is of course a result of cross-selling. Yeah, but a bulk of the revenue from youth, actually for us, it is the use of saving to give out loans, and actually these are interest earned on the loan portfolio.
Thank you very much, Jules. So loans to young people, I just want to point out to the audience, this group of young people here receive these motorcycles from UCU through a leasing contract. And this is one of the most innovative youth products that are among our partners have designed, and that has actually worked pretty well. So loans and cross-selling to parents, exactly. So you are able to, you've been able to attract parents. And then I would add to that, everything that you've said, maybe building this long-term relationship with young people. Because with the younger youth, right now, they might not be such a good business proposition for you, but if you keep them happy and if you are able to show them that you care about their savings, right, in the future, they will become this youth that probably we will be able to take out greater other financial services from your FSP. Now, with that, let me just go and conclude. So, watch out for variable costs, right? Prioritize uptake. Prioritize usage over uptake. Uptake is important, but usage is even more important. You will have to probably cross-subsidize services, right? So cross-subsidize the services that you provide to young people with those that you provide with older people, right? And then you also have other revenues from youth, from building a long-term relationship from them, from getting them or give them other financial services different than savings to older youth and those youth that are ready, like the ones in the picture, and then cross-selling to parents. So with that, I want to thank you for your participation, well, for listening, but just before I close and I open the floor for questions, Jules, very quickly, tell us about the profitability of your program right now. At what percent is UCU from reaching the break-even point of the youth program?
Oh, okay, definitely. This may be a point of view from the practitioner. We had reached actually the profit, the income from youth products was covering the expenses at 75% last year, and yet we were at the third year, and now we are in the fourth year, and we are planning, we are expecting that we have reached the break-even point. I mean, covering the expenses at 100% by the end of this year. Of course, by using all a combination of all the strategies that you said, because we are mobilizing savings, and these savings, from these savings, we are giving out loans to youth, to older youth. We are also using the cross-selling. And if I talk about the loans, where of course leasing also is also included, and this is most likely the product that you are preparing. They are trying to. The demand for that product is very high.
Right.
And yes, and as you said, we are also building our future clientele, so that we hope that what we are doing is not only profitable right now, but also it will be to have an impact, a positive impact on our institution in the future. So that's actually what we are, how we are now, and we are expecting to be to progress very well in this year. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jules. Thank you for having participated. Thank you, Flavia, as well, for having joined in the conversation. Now I want to open the floor for questions.
Yes. Just before we do that, well, I would like to thank you, Maria, also to thank Jules and thank Flavia, not only for sticking to the time, but also for such a great presentation. Lucky for us, our moderator, María Perdomo, she's native in Spanish and also speaks English and French, so do not hesitate to ask your questions in any of these three languages. I think I would like to conclude before we start answering the questions by saying that we really appreciate this webinar and the fact that many of the financial services providers that do work now with these segments initially started their programs not based on the business case, but based on the impact that they will have in their communities, and also on recognizing the level of exclusion in the financial market. But it is important, and we're really happy that today we can take away an idea that there is a business case for serving youth. It's not going to be in the short term, but it might be on the medium or the long term. I think we can conclude together with you, Maria, that there is a business case for serving youth, But financial services providers should follow 3 pathways to profitability. So we have optimizing expenses, and for that we know that with the use of new technologies such as ATMs, also branchless banking, we can achieve some reductions on the operating cost. In creating savings volume, we can encourage the usage of accounts, and we can target small share of youth with higher savings capacity. And we have the increase in returns from youth, which is basically we have that. We know that a young customer has more chances to become a lifetime customer, and we also know that there are cross-selling opportunities. So you have the kid who goes to the bank to open an account, and he normally probably will go with his parent, so that enables the cross-selling opportunities. So I have a few questions, but I'm gonna wait, Maria, to answer the questions from our participants, and then I'll come back with maybe 1 or 2 last questions. Thank you very much.
Great. The floor is yours, participants.
Okay, Maria. I think we have a question. Okay. Well, the first question comes from Tiana Harribolona. She says, "Young people can contract loans from how old and after how long do saving?" Yes.
Good. Okay. So Tiana, it depends on the country. Most of the countries allow young people to get loans at the age of 18, which is the case of many of the countries where I work. Some others at the age of 21, and the age is linked to the majority. And so that the majority of age, right, that in the country takes into consideration. So it's actually in the civil code, and yeah. So that's one thing. And as for how long do saving, I mean, also depends how young people can open a savings account. In the case of Rwanda, for example, independently open and manage a savings account when they turn 16, right? But other countries, and most of the countries where I work, is 18. One of the most challenging environments to work with youth, in my opinion, is among the countries where I work is Uganda, when you, for example, not only need a parental consent to open a savings account, but also to manage it independently. Now, what I've seen from the youth from the FSPs that we work with, usually young people start saving. Let me give you an example. I was recently in Uganda, and I was visiting one of our partners, Think Uganda, there. And there was this young person, Patrick. He has been saving for Think Uganda for the past 2 years. He's now 18, and with those savings, he bought a pig. So, and now he will be able to save to sell that pig for like triple the money that he saved in a year or so. Now, another question from Nuran Ahmed. Can you talk a bit about the FSP's experience with the provision of non-financial services to youth in terms of the main challenges faced, the characteristics of the youth participating in financial services, and the main benefits to them? Very good question, Nuran. My apologies if I mispronouncing your name. One of the beauty of YouthStart is that we have 10 financial service providers, and most of them have tried different approaches, not only in financial services, but most in the non-financial services that they provide. Some of them started partnering with youth financial service, youth serving organizations to provide these financial services. Most of them that started with these partnerships found that the partnership was actually quite expensive, that could be quite expensive, and the other challenge with those partnerships was that the outreach of financial service providers is actually much greater than the outreach of these youth serving organizations. So if, for example, for a pilot test, it could work because they might overlap, the coverage zone might overlap of the FSP with the YSO, but that's not always the case when they scale up the services throughout the country, because that youth serving organization might not be serving all the zones where the FSP is present. So that's where partners start kind of sticking. And so due to these challenges, most of our partners now have some kind of like a hybrid model, where in those zones that is difficult to reach youth, in those zones where there are no organizations to partner with, they're doing it themselves, most of them. And very few are actually still partnering. I think Finca, DRC still partners, and Finca is done, if I'm not wrong, still partners that way. So now the Haminder thing. Can you talk a bit about the FSP's experience with the provision of non-financial services to youth?
No, I believe it's the same question. Yeah, he was replying. I would like just to add a small question for you, Maria, on the non-financial services. I think just like child finance, you agree that providing financial education in tandem with financial services is crucial to building the financial capabilities. But my question is, did you personally recommend any delivery model over the other one? So unified or parallel, what do you think is best in your opinion?
I mean, coming from my, I mean, I am a big fan of the unified model. And the reason why I'm a big fan is because let's be honest, I think there's absolutely no organization out there with the outreach that financial service providers have. So we have to take advantage of that outreach of these financial service providers as a delivery mechanism of financial education, and why not other life-saving education like reproductive health, for example, right? Now, on the other hand, when the same FSP delivers financial education, we have to be careful that they actually do it in a responsible way and not as a marketing tool, right? Because that there's a blurry line between marketing and financial education, and we don't want to transgress that line. And the third one is that, in my opinion, one of the models that I like the most from our partners is the one used by UCU. They use a hybrid. They use that I just talked about, that I talked about during the webinar. So they use the unified model for some, meaning that they use their same path to train youth, but they also build in the capacity of youth mobilizers in their own communities so that they cascade that information. Now, the problem or the challenge with that peer-to-peer education.
I think there is a problem with the audio, Maria. Can you talk again? I don't know if our guests can hear. Hello?
Maria's connection is bad.
Oh, Maria, can you hear us? Okay, let's hold on for a minute. Maybe there's a problem with the line. Hold on for a second. Great. Well, we also have a question. Oh, yeah. Maria.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, we can hear you now. You were, I don't know if you finished with the answer.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Good. We have another question from Vasilina Angelo. She said, "Hello, Maria. Thank you for the interesting presentation. You were saying that charging fees contributes the financial institution's business case. However, it does not compromise people's savings behaviors. Could you give an example?" Hold on for a second.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure thing. It's a little introduction. Okay. You were saying that charging fees contributes to the financial institution's business case. However, does not compromise people's savings behaviors. Could you give an example how much you think young people are willing to pay for sign-up costs and transaction costs monthly? Many thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would nuance that statement. I mean, I've seen it all. Like I've seen, for example, that among the FSPs from YouthStart, that have the most affordable products, those are the ones that are having right now the highest numbers of youth reached and the higher number of savings volume. So there's definitely a correlation. I think the more affordable your products are, the greater chance for you is to, what we are seeing is that you could have a greater chance to attract more youth and usage, etc. Now, it's a bit, it's difficult because, how much should that entry fee cost? Like what I've seen, for example, the thing could charge $1, which is very affordable. I think Opportunity Bank charges nothing, but that's the same case with their adult product. Unfortunately, the credit unions, because they have to, every member of the credit union has to pay a membership fee. That fee is quite high, but CUSEC in Togo, for example, that fee is they manage to lower that membership fee for youth like quite a lot. So yeah, in my opinion, the more affordable the product is, the better. Now, to assure the sustainability of the product, we may have the FSP may have to charge some fees. Now, I think we're getting into a lot of data about how much will that fee be and how much do they need, right, to make it sustainable, and how much it's just like not nonsense to charge.
Agree. I don't know if there are other questions. We're actually reaching our time in here. I just have one tiny little question for you, Maria, before we end. Is what can we expect from the next publication from the YouthStart? And is it possible to have maybe a webinar when that happens?
Sure. So Ignacio, I'm very happy to report that there are two very exciting projects this year of YouthStart. One is that we just embarked on an assessment of the effects of financial and non-financial services on the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors of young people. And I'm expecting to have the results of that study by September, October this year. And the second one is for some of you that read the paper on the business case. This is the first series of two other papers. So the first one was about youth savings, and we will complement that this paper with two more papers. One with youth non-financial services and other kinds of services that like loans. So just do a more comprehensive study on youth services that include financial education and loans, not only youth savings. And that study, I hope to have it also by the end of the year. So I welcome the opportunity to share and disseminate the learnings through a webinar and partner with Challenge Finance for that.
That sounds very exciting. Thank you very much, Maria. I want to thank you again. I'm Ms. María Perdomo from UNCDF. Also, Ms. Flavia Nakamate, who came to the rescue at the end from Uganda Finance Trust. Thank you very much. And also Mr. Jules Ndahayo. I'm sorry if I pronounced wrong your last name. Thank you very much for contributing to this webinar. It was recorded, so we will share the recording with the rest of the group in case you missed anything. For the rest, I guess we'll see you next time. Thank you very much, and have a good afternoon.
Okay, thank you guys for having organized the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.